guys, I'm leaving TV and journalism in general. Also, you will see about a third of the way through that the color and the position changes completely because my SD card got corrupted and didn't record this, so I'm redoing it. I won't miss that. I want to start by saying that my most recent employer, AccuWeather, has been nothing but kind and accommodating during some of the worst moments of my entire life. I have nothing but good things to say about the people there, the operation. This is not AccuWeather's fault. It never has been. So please keep their app on your phone. I'd also like to address that I'm not as vain to think that everybody is just dying to hear about my latest movements, know what's happening with me. But I really kind of wanted this to be an explanation that I feel like I owed to all of the amazing people that have supported me, whether through comments or just mentioning to my parents that you saw me or reaching out to me by email, stopping me in public. Like, it has been wonderful, and I am not the type of person to just go out quietly, disappear from the party. I'm even dropping my news voice to do this video, to talk to you guys. Yes, that exists. We all have one. Don't let them tell you otherwise. I just want it to be me and you. I'm not one of those people that has the storybook romance with TV that you hear about so often, where they're 3 years old, gumming Cheerios in a high chair, point at the local newscasters and make a declaration that that's going to be them someday, and it's a very full circle moment. None of that was happening for Sarah Israel. Basically, I always knew I was a skilled writer, and at a very early age, I took a huge interest in photography. I would go out in my backyard and photograph anything I could find. I was always the person to bring a camera to the sleepovers. And even in early age, I remember interviewing my friends before I even knew what I was doing. I would ask them a series of questions, like their favorite color and their favorite food, and make profiles of each one of them. I just was really militant about documenting our lives. I just loved it. And I wanted it on record that, we were there. It wasn't until about halfway through college when all of those skills and interests combined and really clicked with my mega extroverted personality that I've always had. And then getting involved with some extracurricular activities in college, getting involved with the TV studio, where it all made sense, where I was like, I should be a broadcast journalism reporter. Duh, that makes sense. It really was this beautiful love child of all my experiences and interests up until that point. What I did not realize until much later is that a huge driving factor behind all of this was this little nugget right here. So since about middle school, I would say, I've struggled with anxiety and depression. That's when some of the more serious signs and side effects really started to take form. It took years for me to identify that, get treatment, to really get on a path where I could even start to feel normal in my brain, but the damage had been done. And an already flimsy confidence just received so many blows. It just deteriorated over the years to the point where I could not feel good about myself or anything unless it came from other people. So if maybe one person told me that I was pretty, I would believe it for maybe a fleeting second. But if the next day some boy told me that I looked like Samara, the girl from The Ring, that did happen, I would be like, yes, you're right. I'm terrible, and I'm gross, and I'm ugly, and I am the worst. In my mind, I thought if I was a reporter on TV, then that must mean that I am somebody. So basically, how can I be dumb or ugly if I'm on TV? That must mean that I'm pretty and worthwhile, because they wouldn't just put anyone up there. And I know that sounds silly to a lot of people, probably, but what I thought is that I was signing up for a career that was going to give me that sweet, sweet validation, and that I couldn't give myself. And I won't lie, in the very beginning when I was 22 years old, being able to tell people, yeah, I'm on TV and you can watch me at my time. Like it was thrilling in the beginning and I felt important. But all that glimmer sure did fade away quickly. Yes, that is a fuel line. What doesn't fade are the howls of mothers at shooting scenes after they figured out that their baby is the one who was killed. I'll never forget those sounds as long as I live. What else doesn't fade are 7 years of Christmases away from your family, scrolling on Instagram in a live truck, shivering in between takes, looking at everybody else, making memories, and just being really aware that time is passing and you're not there to see it. What doesn't fade is having to go to the scene of a motorcycle crash 2 days after one of your best friends died. It's a lot of people in news say if it was easy, everyone would do it. And I got to the point that it wasn't easy, and I don't know how any of us do it. TV news can be like a drug, right? It's brutal, it is unforgiving, but there is no better feeling in the world when you really capture someone's soul and put it into film and you do really right by them, or you nail a live shot on a very difficult subject. I'm telling you, it feels like you are on top of the world, but there's so much heaviness that counterbalances that, and that was really starting to weigh on my heart. So let's talk recently. I wanted to stay present. I wanted to keep posting on my socials, but something in me just died and refused to let me get there mentally. And I think it was that I knew I was no longer in love with something that I thought was supposed to be my soulmate. I was one of those people that said, I'm going to be lugging around a camera until I'm in my 60s. This definitely does break my heart because I define my entire adult life by this industry, and it has given me some of the best people I have met in my life as my closest friends, some of the most cherished memories. But when you know, and I know. There is a whole nother aspect of this entire issue in my personal experiences that I do want to talk about on a later date. There are a lot of things that I think the public has no idea goes on in this industry, of how things really are. Some of the best people I know do this job still, and they deserve a lot better. But that's not what I want this focus to be on. And, there's time and a place for that. I told myself in the very beginning that I would always do my best to be genuine. I would maybe tease a little more than the average reporter when appropriate. I would be playful when I could, wear a giant pink bow in my hair for snow coverage, which people loved, by the way, and thank you for that. That really meant a lot to me. And I would always write in my voice, which the great Dennis Owens would always call quirky. I was his quirky reporter girl. But for the last several months, I've felt like I couldn't do that anymore. I felt so disconnected to that genuine voice for myself. So I hope that this change helps me get some of that light back in my life. I'm really hopeful, and I still do plan on releasing poetry, writing, videos. Who knows? It just won't be in the realm of TV broadcast anymore. I will, of course, express what I'm going to be doing next, but I really wanted the focus of this video to be on me saying goodbye to what I thought would be the love of my life. And all this thinking about that has just weighed messaging on my heart that I think a lot of other people maybe can relate to or can benefit from. And that's, it is okay if your dreams change, especially if you get to the top of those dreams thinking something you built your whole life towards, of once I get here, it'll be okay. And then realizing that it's maybe not as sparkly as you thought it would be. That's okay. I am finally getting to a point where I no longer require that extreme validation like Lifeblood, and I am going to be betting on myself and my happiness and just trying to do where my heart and gut is taking me. One of my favorite authors of all time is Cheryl Strayed, and she has a quote that goes, "Don't surrender all your joy for an idea that you used to have about yourself that isn't true anymore." And that is what I intend to do. For all the people who watched even a single news story of mine, you made it all worth it. To know that I lived it and that you were all there to see it with me is an experience of a lifetime, and I'll never forget it. So thank you. Thank you so much for listening, sticking it out through this whole video. And as the wonderfully soulful Curtis Mayfield says, keep on keeping on.
We just keep on keeping on. Many things that we have loaded, but they too will soon admit that there's still a lot of love among us, and there's still a lot of faith, war, and trust when we keep on keeping on.
It is out of here.